Imagine stepping into a fog-shrouded English manor where whispers of ancient secrets echo through hidden crypts, and even the sharpest mind, like Hercule Poirot's, could unravel a web of shadows that hide more than just the dead. Chapter 1. The Invitation to Ashford Manor. Picture this, folks. It's a crisp autumn evening in 1930s London, and our beloved detective, Hercule Poirot, is lounging in his impeccably neat apartment on Whitehaven Mansions. The little grey cells, as he likes to call them, are itching for a puzzle after a string of mundane cases that barely challenged his genius. He's sipping his tisane, that herbal tea he swears by, when the post arrives with an envelope sealed in elegant wax, bearing the crest of an old aristocratic family. Poirot's moustache twitches as he opens it, revealing an invitation from Lord Reginald Ashford, a wealthy industrialist known for his collection of rare silver artifacts. The letter pleads for Poirot's presence at Ashford Manor in the countryside, hinting at a matter of utmost delicacy involving family heirlooms and unexplained occurrences in their ancient crypt. Poirot, ever the curious soul, decides this could be just the diversion he needs. He packs his bags with precision, his favorite walking stick, a few monogrammed handkerchiefs, and of course, his notebook for jotting down observations, accompanied by his loyal friend Captain Arthur Hastings, who jumps at any chance for adventure. They board the train to the rural heart of England. Hastings chatters away about the beauty of the countryside, but Poirot is lost in thought, staring out at the rolling hills dotted with sheep and ancient stone walls. Mon ami, Poirot says with that distinctive Belgian accent one does not invite Hercule Poirot for tea and scones. There is a shadow lurking in this invitation, and I intend to bring it into the light. As the train pulls into the small station near Ashford Manor, a chauffeur in a polished black car awaits them. The drive through winding lanes lined with oak trees feels almost enchanting. But Poirot notices the subtle signs of neglect, overgrown hedges and a gate that creaks ominously. The manor itself looms ahead, a grand Georgian structure with ivy climbing its walls and tall chimneys piercing the sky. Lord Ashford greets them at the entrance, a tall man in his 50s with a furrowed brow and eyes that dart nervously. "Monsieur Poirot, thank heavens you've come," he exclaims, shaking hands vigorously. "And Captain Hastings, a pleasure. Please come in out of this chill." Inside, the manor is a testament to faded glory. Crystal chandeliers hang from high ceilings, portraits of stern ancestors line the halls, and the air carries a faint scent of polished wood and old books. Lady Ashford, Reginald's elegant wife, joins them in the drawing room, her silk dress rustling as she pours tea. She's poised but pale, as if sleep has eluded her. With them is their daughter, Eliza, a vibrant young woman in her 20s with fiery red hair and a spirited demeanor, and their son, Victor, a brooding artist type who sketches absent-mindedly by the window. Also present is Dr. Elias Thorne, the family physician and a close friend, whose calm presence seems to steady the group. Lord Ashford wastes no time diving into the reason for the summons. "It's the Silver Crypt, Monsieur Poirot," he explains, his voice dropping to a whisper. "Our family has guarded it for centuries. It's not just any cryptites lined with pure silver panels, engraved with symbols from our ancestors who were alchemists in the 1600s. They believed silver warded off evil spirits. Inside, we keep the Ashford silver collection, goblets, candelabras, even a legendary silver mask said to hold mystical properties. But lately, shadows have been seen moving in there at night. Not ghosts, mind you, at least, I hope not, but figures lurking. And last week, A priceless silver dagger vanished without a trace. Poirot leans forward, his eyes gleaming. Shadows, you say? Describe them, if you please. Lord Ashford recounts tales from the servants, elongated forms gliding along the crypt walls, accompanied by faint whispers and the clink of metal. No doors forced, no footprints, yet the dagger is gone. Eliza chimes in, her voice excited yet fearful. I've seen them too, father. Last night, I swear, a shadow detached from the wall and followed me up the stairs. Victor scoffs. Nonsense, sister. It's probably just the wind playing tricks with the lanterns. But Dr. Thorne nods gravely. I have examined the crypt myself. No medical explanation, but the air down there feels charged, like before a storm. Intrigued, Poirot requests a tour of the manor, starting with the crypt. They descend a spiral stone staircase hidden behind a bookcase in the library, torches flickering to life as they go. The air grows cooler, damper, carrying a metallic temps. At the bottom, a heavy iron door swings open to reveal the Silver Crypt, a vaulted chamber where walls shimmer with silver plates, etched with arcane runes and alchemical symbols like the sun and moon intertwined. Pedestals hold the collection, each piece gleaming under the dim light, except for one empty spot where the dagger once rested. Poirot examines the area meticulously, his magnifying glass in hand, noting the dust patterns undisturbed, except for faint scuff marks near the wall. Interesting, Poirot murmurs. The shadows you speak of, perhaps they are not supernatural, but the projections of human deceit. He questions the household staff next. The butler, Mr. Graves, a stoic man who's served the family for decades. The maid, young Bessie, who trembles as she recalls hearing footsteps in the night. And the gardener, old Mr. Wilkins, who claims to have seen a cloaked figure slipping into the woods bordering the manor. Each account adds layers to the mystery. But Poirot senses inconsistencies. Graves hesitates when asked about visitors, and Bessie mentions a strange visitor from London a week prior. As evening falls, the group gathers for dinner in the grand dining hall, candlelight casting long shadows across the table. Conversation turns to the family's history, how the Ashfords amassed their wealth through silver mines in Cornwall, and the legend of the crypts, cursed that any who steal from it will be haunted by shadows until madness claims them. Lady Ashford shares a family anecdote about her great-grandfather, who supposedly saw visions in the silver reflections leading to his untimely death. Poirot listens intently, piecing together motives. Could it be a thief from outside, drawn by the collection's value? Or an inside job, perhaps Victor needing funds for his art, or Eliza with her secretive late-night walks? Chapter 2. The vanishing of the first victim faceless. The morning sun casts a golden glow over Ashford Manor, but the air is thick with unease as Hercule Poirot gathers the household in the grand dining hall. He's determined to unravel the mystery of the missing silver dagger and the shadowy figures haunting the crypt. His sharp eyes scan the room, but his thoughts are drawn to a new discovery. The glove with the initials Etoile dropped by the intruder last night. Could Dr. Elias Thorne, the calm and trusted family physician, be involved? Poirot's little grey cells are buzzing, but a fresh twist emerges to complicate the puzzle. As breakfast is served sizzling bacon, eggs, and toast with marmalade, Poirot requests a private meeting with Lord Ashford in the study. The room is a haven of dark wood panels and leather-bound books, with a fire crackling in the hearth. Lord Ashford, looking more haggard than yesterday, sits heavily behind his desk. Monsieur Poirot, he begins, there's something I haven't told you. The dagger's theft isn't the only incident. There's an older mystery tied to the crypto disappearance. My great-aunt, Lady Beatrice Ashford, vanished in 1875. Last seen entering the Silver Crypt. No trace was ever found, and the family assumed she fled abroad after a scandal. But with these shadows now, I fear there's more to it. Poirot leans forward, his moustache perfectly still, his mind racing. Tell me about Lady Beatrice, he says, his voice calm but probing. Lord Ashford recounts the tale. Beatrice was a spirited woman, fascinated by the family's alchemical history. She'd been researching the crypt's silver panels, believing they held secrets beyond mere decoration. Rumours swirled of a forbidden romance with a scholar from Oxford, and when she disappeared, the family assumed she'd eloped to avoid disgrace. Yet no letters, no sightings, nothing. The crypt was searched, but only her shawl was found near. A silver panel, folded neatly as if left deliberately. Intrigued, Poirot requests to see Beatrice's belongings. Lady Ashford, composed but with a tightness in her eyes, leads him to a locked attic room where family relics are stored. Dust motes dance in the sunlight streaming through a small window, illuminating trunks filled with history. Among Beatrice's possessions a diary, yellowed with age, and a locket engraved with a crescent moon. The diary, written in elegant script, details her obsession with the crypt's symbols, particularly one she called the Key of Soul, a sun-like emblem said to unlock hidden truths. Her final entry, dated the night she vanished, reads, "Tonight I test the key. The shadows will guide me." Poirot's brow furrows. Shadows again. Could Beatrice's disappearance be linked to the current theft? He pockets the diary for later study and descends to the library, where Captain Hastings is poring over estate maps. "Anything, Hastings?" Poirot asks. Hastings points to a map showing tunnels beneath the manor, used during the Civil War to hide valuables. One tunnel connects the crypt to the abandoned chapel in the woods, the same chapel Poirot explored. Yesterday, a secret route, Poirot muses. Perhaps Beatrice found it tanned, someone else has, too. He decides to investigate the chapel again, this time with a lantern and a measuring tape. The woods are damp from last night's storm, leaves crunching underfoot as Poirot and Hastings reach the chapel. Its stone walls are moss-covered, but inside, the air is dry, almost preserved. Poirot examines the altar, noticing scratches around its base as if it's been moved. With Hastings' help, he shifts the heavy stone, revealing a trapdoor leading to a tunnel. The passage is narrow, its walls rough-hewn, with faint silver flecks glinting in the lantern light. It stretches toward the manor, confirming a link to the crypt. At the tunnel's end, they find a concealed door behind a silver panel in the crypt, explaining the shadow's escape last night. Back at the manor, Poirot questions the staff again, this time about Beatrice. Mr. Graves, the butler, recalls his grandfather mentioning Beatrice's late-night crypt visits, always alone. Bessie, the maid, whispers about a family legend. Beatrice discovered a ritual tied to the silver mask, meant to commune with spirits. Nonsense, Victor interrupts, entering the room. She ran off with her lover, plain and simple. But Eliza, joining them, disagrees. I've read her letters in the attic. She was seeking something in the crypt, something powerful. Poirot notes their differing reactions. Victor dismissive, Eliza fervent. Lunch is a tense affair, with roast chicken and potatoes served under the weight of unspoken secrets. Poirot observes the family dynamics. Dr. Thorne is absent, called away. to a patient, but his glove weighs heavily in Poirot's pocket. Lady Ashford mentions a local historian, Miss Clara Wren, who studied the Ashford family for years. Poirot arranges to meet her that afternoon at the village tea-house, a quaint spot with lace curtains and the aroma of fresh scones. Clara, a sharp-eyed woman in her 60s, shares her research. Beatrice was no runaway. She was corresponding with an alchemist's descendant, a man named Silas Crowe, about the crypt's origins. Crowe vanished around the same time, his home in London found ransacked. Poirot's interest deepens. This Silas Crony record of his work. Clara nods, producing a photocopied manuscript. It describes the Silver Crypt as a vessel of resonance, where silver amplifies energies, possibly spiritual ones. The manuscript mentions a ritual involving the silver mask and dagger, performed under specific lunar phases. Poirot calculates, the next full moon is tomorrow night. Could someone be planning to recreate this ritual? He thanks Clara and returns to the manor, his mind piecing together fragments. In the drawing room, Poirot confronts Dr. Thorne, who's just returned. Your glove, doctor, was found in the crypt. Care to explain? Thorne pales but claims he dropped it weeks ago while inspecting the collection for insurance purposes. His calm demeanor cracks slightly, and Poirot senses half-truths. Later, in the garden, Poirot overhears Elixir whispering to Victor about finishing what Beatrice started. Victor snaps, "You're as mad as she was." Poirot wonders if Eliza's occult fascination mirrors Beatrice's, or if Victor's anger hides guilt. As dusk settles, Poirot revisits the crypt alone, his lantern casting eerie shadows. He examines the key of soul symbol on a silver panel, noticing it's slightly raised, unlike the others. Pressing it, he hears a click, but nothing moves. Frustrated, he returns upstairs, where Hastings reports finding a hidden drawer in Beatrice's trunk. Inside is a sketch of the silver mask, annotated with coordinates matching the chapel's location. Poirot's pulse quickens. This could be a clue to Beatrice's fate. Dinner is a quiet affair, with lamb, stew, and red wine, but the atmosphere is charged. Poirot watches the family closely. Lord Ashford, distracted, Lady Ashford withdrawn, Eliza restless, Victor sullen, and Thorne overly composed. Afterward, Poirot and Hastings retire to the library, where Poirot studies Beatrice's diary again. A phrase stands out. The shadows are not spirits, but echoes of intent. Poirot murmurs, Beatrice knew something. Her disappearance is the key to our thief. As midnight approaches, Poirot sets another trap, placing a decoy mask in the crypt and stationing Hastings near the chapel. He hides in the tunnel, waiting. Footsteps echo, and a cloaked figure appears, reaching for the mask. Poirot leaps out, but the figure bolts through the tunnel toward the chapel. Hastings radios from his post. The figure emerged but vanished. Into the woods, Poirot finds a dropped note with a single word: soul. The chapter ends with Poirot back in his room, staring at the glove and the note. Beatrice's mystery and the dagger's theft are entwined. He tells Hastings, tomorrow, we uncover who seeks the key of soul and why. The full moon looms, promising answers or deeper shadows. Chapter 3. The Moonlit Ritual. The full moon hangs low over Ashford Manor, its silvery light filtering through the tall windows, casting intricate patterns across the polished floors. Hercule Poirot, ever alert, feels the weight of the nights. Promise. The cryptic note with the word soul and the looming lunar phase suggest a ritual tied to the Silver Crypt is imminent. His little grey cells hum with anticipation, piecing together the clues. Lady Beatrice's disappearance, the stolen dagger, and the mysterious figure in the crypt. Tonight, Poirot is determined to catch the culprit in the act and uncover the truth behind the shadows. Morning begins with a hearty breakfast of kippers, toast, and tea, but the household is restless. Poirot gathers everyone in the morning room, his demeanour calm yet commanding. "Mes amis," he says, his Belgian accent sharp. "Tonight is significant. The full moon aligns with the crypt's purpose, as Lady Beatrice's diary suggests. I propose we watch the crypt closely." Lord Ashford nods, his face pale, while Lady Ashford grips her teacup tightly. Eliza's eyes sparkle with curiosity. Victor slouches skeptically, and Dr. Thorne offers a measured "I'll assist, of course." Poirot notes their reactions, sensing hidden motives. He spends the morning in the library, studying the sketch of the silver mask found in Beatrice's trunk. The coordinates pointing to the chapel nag at him, so he and Captain Hastings return to the crumbling structure in the woods. The air inside is musty, and Poirot notices fresh scuff marks on the floor near the trapdoor. Kneeling, he finds a small, tarnished silver key hidden beneath a loose stone, engraved with a sun symbol, the key of soul. "Mon ami," Poirot says to Hastings, "this key may unlock more than a door." They return to the manor, the key tucked safely in waistcoat pocket. Lunch is a light affacold, meats, salads, and lemonade, but tension simmers. Poirot questions Eliza privately in the conservatory, surrounded by blooming orchids. "Mademoiselle, your interest in the occult, does it extend to rituals?" Eliza hesitates, then admits she's read about alchemical ceremonies in the family library, inspired by Beatrice's notes. "I only wanted to understand her," she insists. Poirot probes gently, learning she's been visiting the crypt at night, drawn by a feeling of connection. Her sincerity is convincing, but Poirot wonders if she knows more than she admits. In the afternoon, Poirot meets with Mr. Graves, the butler, in the pantry. The stoic man reveals a detail. On the night the dagger vanished, he saw Dr. Thorne leaving the manor late, carrying a satchel. "I thought it was a medical call," Graves says, but his tone suggests doubt. Poirot thanks him and seeks out Victor, finding him painting in the garden gazebo. His canvas depicts a shadowy figure holding a dagger, the crypt's silver panels in the background. "Just imagination," Victor mutters, but Poirot notices paint smudges on his hands, matching the crypt's dust. Could Victor be staging the shadows for his art? As evening approaches, Poirot organizes the household for a vigil. He assigns Hastings to guard the chapel, himself to the crypt's hidden passage, and asks Lord Ashford to monitor the manor's entrances. Lady Ashford and Eliza are to stay in the drawing room, while Victor and Dr. Thorne patrol the grounds. Poirot hands out whistles to signal any trouble, his plan meticulous. He slips the silver key into the crypt's key of soul panel, testing it. A soft click reveals a small compartment containing a parchment with alchemical symbols and the words, "Under Saul's gaze, the mask speaks truth." The ritual is real, and tonight is its night. Dinner is tense, with roast beef and Yorkshire pudding barely touched. The storm from 2 nights ago lingers in the air, clouds parting to reveal the moon's glow. Poirot excuses himself early, positioning himself in the crypt's tunnel with a lantern dimmed to avoid detection. The silver panels gleam faintly, their runes almost pulsing in the moonlight streaming through a high vent. Hours pass in silence. The manor quiet except for the occasional creak of old wood. Then, a faint hum like a chant echoes from the crypt's main chamber. Poirot creeps forward, peering through the concealed door. A figure in a hooded cloak stands before the silver mask's pedestal, holding the missing dagger. Candlelight flickers, casting elongated shadows that dance across the walls. The figure chants softly in Latin, words Poirot recognizes from Beatrice's diary, Sol et luna, aperi veritas. The mask seems to shimmer as if responding. Poirot signals. Hastings with a low whistle, then steps into the chamber. Enough, mon ami, he declares, his voice cutting through the chant. The figure spins, dropping the dagger with a clatter. The hood falls back, revealing Dr. Thorne, his face a mix of shock and defiance. Monsieur Poirot, you misunderstand, he stammers. Before he can explain, footsteps thunder above, and Lord Ashford bursts in, followed by Eliza and Victor. What's happening? Lord Ashford demands. Poirot holds up a hand, retrieving the dagger. Dr. Thorne, you will explain this ritual and your role in the shadows. Thorne collapses onto a stone bench, his composure gone. He confesses to studying the Ashford alchemical texts for years, believing the silver mask and dagger could unlock a forgotten power, not supernatural, but a chemical reaction amplifying perception. Beatrice was close to it, he says. I found her notes in the chapel years ago, hidden in the altar. I've been trying to recreate her ritual. He denies stealing the dagger, claiming it was already missing when he began his experiments. Poirot's eyes narrow. Thorne's story explains the glove and the chant, but not the theft. Elisa gasps, you used my research. She admits sharing Beatrice's diary with Thorne, unaware of his nocturnal experiments. Victor scoffs, you're all mad, chasing fairy tales. But Poirot notices Victor's clenched fists, his eyes darting to the dagger. Hastings returns from the chapel, reporting no one else there but fresh footprints leading into the woods. Poirot pockets the parchment and key, ordering everyone back to the manor. We are close, he tells Hastings quietly, but the thief remains at large. In the drawing room, moonlight spills across the rugs as Poirot paces. He questions Thorne further, learning the doctor visited the crypt nightly, using the tunnel. To avoid suspicion, the shadows, Thorne insists, were his own, magnified by the silver panel's reflective properties. But Poirot recalls the fabric on the dagger's pedestal, Victor's coat. He decides to confront Victor tomorrow, suspecting the artist's involvement runs deeper. Lady Ashford, shaken, offers brandy to calm nerves, but Poirot declines, his mind too sharp for spirits, as the household retires. Poirot and Hastings sit by the fire, the silver key glinting in Poirot's hand. The ritual was a distraction, Poirot muses. Thorne seeks knowledge, but someone else seeks profit. The dagger's theft is no accident. He flips through Beatrice's diary again, finding a sketch of the key with a note. Sol hides the blade. The phrase puzzles him. Does it refer to the sun symbol or something else? The night grows still, the moon now high. Poirot sets a new plan. Tomorrow he'll search Victor's studio and the woods for more clues. Hastings, he says, the shadows are clearing, but one truth remains hidden. In our next chapter, we'll uncover the thief's motive and how it ties to Beatrice's fate. The fire crackles, mirroring the spark in Poirot's eyes as the mystery deepens. Chapter 4. The artist's secret dawn breaks over Ashford Manor, painting the sky in hues of pink and gold, but the tranquility belies the storm brewing within Hercule Poirot's mind. The events of last night, Dr. Thorne's ritual, the recovered silver dagger, and the lingering question of the true thief have sharpened his focus. The fabric scrap from Victor's coat, found on the dagger's pedestal, points to the brooding artist, and Poirot is determined to uncover his role in the mystery. With the full moon's ritual disrupted, the household is on edge, and Poirot senses the thief may act again soon. Breakfast is a subdued affair, with porridge, fruit, and coffee served in the dining hall. Poirot observes Victor, who picks at his food, his eyes shadowed from lack of sleep. Eliza chats nervously about the weather, while Lord and Lady Ashford exchange worried glances. Dr. Thorne, unusually quiet, sips his coffee, his composure regained but strained. Poirot announces his plan to inspect the manor's art collection, subtly steering the conversation toward Victor's paintings. "Your work, Monsieur Victor, intrigues me," Poirot says, his tone light but probing. "May I see your studio?" Victor shrugs, mumbling agreement. But his reluctance is palpable. Poirot and Captain Hastings follow Victor to his studio, a converted barn on the manor's grounds. The space is cluttered with canvases, paint tubes, and sketches, the air thick with the scent of turpentine. Sunlight streams through a skylight, illuminating Victor's paintings dark, swirling depictions of the Silver Crypt, shadowy figures, and the silver mask glowing under moonlight. One canvas, half covered by a cloth, catches Poirot's eye. He lifts the cloth, revealing a near-perfect replica of the stolen dagger, painted with uncanny detail. "Remarkable," Poirot says, watching Victor's reaction. The artist shifts uncomfortably, claiming it's just a study for a larger piece. Digging deeper, Poirot examines Victor's sketchbooks, finding drawings of the crypt's runes and a map of the manor's tunnels, mirroring the one Hastings found. "You know the crypt well," Poirot remarks. Victor admits to exploring it for inspiration, fascinated by its history, but denies taking the dagger. "I'm an artist, not a thief," he snaps. Hastings, browsing a corner, discovers a locked box under a workbench. Poirot asks Victor to open it, but he claims to have lost the key. Suspicious, Poirot notes the box's size large enough to hold the dagger before it was recovered. Leaving the studio, Poirot and Hastings walk the grounds, heading toward the woods where last night's footprints vanished. The path is muddy, and Poirot spots fresh tire tracks near a gate, suggesting a vehicle came through recently. Not the gardener's, Hastings notes, recalling Wilkins' old cart. Poirot crouches, finding a cigarette butt stamped with a London brand unusual for rural Ashford. An outsider, perhaps, Poirot muses, pocketing the butt for later analysis. Back at the manor, Poirot requests a private word with Lady Ashford in the rose garden. Surrounded by blooming flowers, she admits Victor's been struggling financially, selling paintings to dubious dealers to fund his art. He's proud, like his father, she says, but desperate. She mentions a recent visitor, a man named Mr. Langley, an antiques dealer from London, who inquired about the silver collection. Poirot's ears perk up. Langley could be the strange visitor Bessie mentioned. He asks Lady Ashford to arrange a meeting with Langley, who's due to visit tomorrow. Lunch brings cucumber sandwiches and tea, but the mood is heavy. Poirot observes Eliza, who's been avoiding the crypt since last night's scare. He pulls her aside in the hallway, asking about her nocturnal visits. She confesses to sketching the crypt symbols, hoping to decode their meaning, but found nothing concrete. "I felt watched," she whispers, like Beatrice's spirit was there. Poirot reassures her, but notes her trembling hands fear or guilt. In the afternoon, Poirot revisits the crypt, this time with a jeweler's loupe to examine the silver panels. The key of soul compartment, opened last night, reveals faint scratches, as if tampered with long ago. He finds a second parchment inside, hidden under a loose rivet with a cryptic phrase, "The blade guards the heart." Poirot connects this to Beatrice's note, "Soul hides the blade," suspecting the dagger's role in a larger secret. He tests other panels, but none yield more clues. As evening falls, Poirot sets a subtle trap. He asks Lord Ashford to announce at dinner that the dagger will be moved to a bank vault tomorrow for safekeeping, over a meal of shepherd's pie and green beans. The news sparks varied reactions. Victor's jaw tightens, Eliza gasps, and Thorne offers to oversee the transfer. Poirot watches closely, hoping to flush out the thief. After dinner, he stations himself in the library, overlooking the crypt's entrance, while Hastings patrols the grounds. Midnight brings a faint noise, a creak from the library bookcase. Poirot hides behind a curtain as the bookcase swings open, revealing the tunnel to the crypt. A figure in dark clothing emerges, moving silently toward the crypt stairs. Poirot follows, keeping to the shadows, and sees the figure attempt to pry open the dagger's pedestal with a crowbar. The moonlight reveals Victor's face, his expression frantic. "Halt, Monsieur Victor," Poirot calls, stepping forward. Victor freezes, dropping the crowbar. "I wasn't stealing," he stammers. "I needed to check something." Under questioning, Victor reveals he's been contacted by Mr. Langley, who offered a fortune for the dagger, claiming it's part of a set with the silver mask. Victor admits to taking the dagger initially, hiding it in his studio's locked box, but returned it to the crypt after guilt overwhelmed him. "I gave it back before Thorne's ritual," he insists. "I just wanted to see if Langley left." "Anything else?" Poirot, skeptical, confiscates the crowbar and escorts Victor back to the manor, locking the crypt door in the drawing room. Poirot confronts Victor with the family present. "Your actions suggest guilt, but your story holds a thread of truth," Poirot says. He reveals the cigarette butt and tire tracks, hinting at an outsider's involvement. Lord Ashford, furious, demands Victor explain his dealings with Langley. Victor admits Langley approached him weeks ago, offering to relocate the collection discreetly to save the family's finances. "I refused to sell the mask," Victor says, "but the dagger was tempting." Poirot pieces together the puzzle. Victor's theft was opportunistic, but someone else, perhaps Langley, may have orchestrated the shadows to cover their tracks. He decides to meet Langley tomorrow to test this theory. As the household disperses, Poirot confides in Hastings by the fireplace. Victor is a pawn, mon ami, but the king remains hidden. The heart of this mystery lies with this Langley and the crypt's true purpose. The chapter closes with Poirot staring out at the moonlit grounds, the silver key in his hand. "Tomorrow, we meet the dealer and uncover his game," he tells Hastings. "The shadows are parting, and the blade's secret will soon be ours." The night is still, but Poirot's mind races, ready for the next revelation. Chapter 5. The dealer's gambit. The morning mist clings to Ashford Manor's grounds, softening the edges of the ancient oaks as Hercule Poirot prepares for a pivotal encounter. The revelation of Victor's brief theft of the silver dagger, coupled with the mysterious Mr. Langley's involvement, has shifted the investigation's focus. Poirot's little grey cells are alight with theories. Sensing that this London antiques dealer holds a key to the crypt's secrets. Today, Langley is due to arrive, and Poirot plans to unravel his intentions while probing deeper into the manor's hidden truths. Breakfast is a quiet affair, with scones, jam, and strong tea served in the dining hall. The household is subdued. After last night's confrontation, with Victor avoiding eye contact and Eliza fidgeting nervously, Lord Ashford, still shaken by his son's confession, assures Poirot that Langley's visit is purely business and appraisal of the silver collection. Lady Ashford, however, seems uneasy, her fingers twisting a lace handkerchief. Dr. Thorne, ever the calm presence, offers to join the meeting, but Poirot politely declines, preferring to face Langley with only Hastings by his side. Poirot spends the morning in the library, reviewing Beatrice's diary and the cryptic parchment from the crypt. The phrase "the blade guards the heart" gnaws at him, suggesting a deeper purpose to the dagger beyond its monetary value. He sketches the sun symbol from the silver key, wondering if it points to a physical or symbolic heart. Hastings, ever practical, suggests searching Langley's background. Poirot agrees, sending a telegram to an old contact at Scotland Yard for any records on the dealer. At noon, a sleek car pulls up to the manor, and Mr. Langley steps out, a wiry man in his 40s, dressed in a tailored suit, with sharp eyes and a practiced smile. He carries a leather briefcase, his demeanor polished but calculating. In the drawing room, over tea and biscuits, Langley expresses admiration for the Ashford silver collection, particularly the mask and dagger. "Exquisite pieces," he says, his voice smooth. "Their alchemical history makes them priceless on the right market." Poirot, sipping his tisane, probes gently. "And what market would that be, Monsieur Langley?" The dealer hesitates, mentioning private collectors abroad, but his vagueness raises Poirot's suspicions. To test Langley, Poirot suggests a tour of the crypt. The dealer's eyes light up, though he masks it with a casual nod. Descending the spiral staircase, Poirot watches Langley closely as they enter the shimmering chamber. Langley examines the silver panels, lingering on the key of soul symbol, his fingers tracing its outline. "Remarkable craftsmanship," he murmurs, but Poirot notices a flicker of recognition. When shown the dagger, now back on its pedestal, Langley's smile tightens. "You've recovered it, I see," he says, betraying knowledge of its theft. Back in the drawing room, Poirot shifts tactics, confronting Langley directly. "You knew the dagger was missing, monsieur. How so?" Langley claims Victor mentioned it in correspondence, but Victor, summoned to join them, denies this. "I only spoke of selling paintings," Victor insists. Poirot produces the cigarette, but found in the woods, its London brand matching one protruding from Langley's case. "Careless, perhaps?" Poirot asks, his tone deceptively mild. Langley falters, admitting he visited the manor grounds last week to scout the collection, but denies entering the crypt. Sensing a lie, Poirot presses further, revealing the tire tracks near the woods. Langley claims they belong to his driver, who waited during his visit, but Poirot's contact at Scotland Yard sends a reply by telegram. Langley has a history of dealing in stolen antiquities, though never convicted. Armed with this, Poirot accuses Langley of orchestrating the dagger's theft, using Victor as a pawn. Langley laughs, denying involvement, but agrees to stay at the manor overnight at Poirot's insistence, under the guise of further appraisal. Lunch is a tense affair, with cold salmon and asparagus served under strained silence. Poirot observes Langley's interactions. He avoids Dr. Thorne, exchanges a quick glance with Eliza, and compliments Lady Ashford excessively. Afterward, Poirot pulls Eliza aside in the conservatory, asking about her contact with Langley. She admits to meeting him once, introduced by Victor, to discuss the collection's history. He was too curious about the mask, she says, her voice uneasy. Poirot files this away, suspecting Langley's interest goes beyond profit. In the afternoon, Poirot explores the manor's upper floors, searching for overlooked clues. In a guest room, he finds a hidden compartment in an old wardrobe, containing a letter dated 1875 from Silas Crowe, Beatrice's alchemist friend. The letter warns Beatrice against using the silver mask in a ritual, claiming it binds the wearer to shadows. Poirot connects this to the crypt's echoes of intent, wondering if Langley seeks this power. He shares the letter with Hastings, who suggests searching Langley's car before he leaves. Under the pretext of a stroll, Poirot and Hastings inspect the car parked near the stables. Inside, they find a notebook with sketches of the crypt's runes and a list of buyers, including a coded name, Soul Seeker. Poirot's pulse quickens. This could be the mastermind behind Langley's actions. They return to the manor as rain begins to fall, the sky darkening with an approaching storm. Dinner is a formal affair, with roast lamb and claret, but the atmosphere is electric. Poirot announces that the dagger will remain in the crypt under lock and key, a deliberate bait to provoke action. Langley excuses himself early, claiming fatigue, but Poirot notices him linger near the library. Suspecting another attempt, Poirot sets a trap. He places a decoy dagger in the crypt, rigged with a bell to alert him, and stations Hastings in the tunnel. As midnight nears, the bell rings faintly. Poirot rushes to the crypt, finding Langley prying at the pedestal, the decoy dagger in hand. "Monsieur Langley, your greed betrays you," Poirot declares. Langley bolts but is caught by Hastings at the tunnel's exit. Under questioning, Langley confesses to planning the dagger's theft for a client, the Soul Seeker, who promised a fortune for the mask and dagger together. He swears he didn't take the dagger initially, only encouraged Victor to consider it. Poirot locks Langley in a guest room guarded by Mr. Graves and gathers the household. The shadows are cast by multiple hands, he says, but the Soul Seeker remains hidden. He suspects this client knows the crypt's true power, perhaps tied to Beatrice's ritual. Eliza, shaken, admits to sharing Beatrice's diary with Langley, believing he was a scholar. Victor, furious, accuses her of endangering the family. Dr. Thorne remains silent, but his eyes betray unease. As the storm rages outside, Poirot retires to his room, the silver key and Silas Crowe's letter on his desk. "The heart is near," he tells Hastings, but the Soul Seeker's identity is the final piece. The chapter closes with Poirot staring into the rain, his mind racing. Tomorrow we unmask this shadow and learn what the blade truly guards. The manor creaks under the storm's weight, hiding one last secret. Chapter 6. The Soul Seeker's Shadow. The storm's aftermath leaves Ashford Manor shrouded in a damp, eerie calm, the morning light struggling through heavy clouds. Hercule Poirot, his mind razor-sharp despite a sleepless night, is consumed by the mystery of the Soul Seeker, the elusive figure behind Mr. Langley's schemes. With the silver dagger secured and Langley confined to a guest room, Poirot senses the true mastermind is closer than ever, possibly within the manor's walls. His little grey cells churn, connecting Silas Crowe's warning letter, the crypt's alchemical secrets, and the persistent shadows that haunt the estate. Breakfast is a strained affair, with poached eggs, toast, and tea served in near silence. Lord Ashford, his face lined with worry, questions Poirot about Langley's confession. Lady Ashford, pale and withdrawn, barely touches her food. Eliza scribbles in a notebook, her eyes darting nervously, while Victor glares at the table, still. Stung by last night's accusations, Dr. Thorne, composed but distant, excuses himself to check on Langley. Poirot, sipping his tisane, announces his intent to search the manor's oldest records for clues about the soul seeker, hoping to trace their connection to Beatrice's era. Poirot and Captain Hastings head to the manor's archive room, a dusty chamber filled with leather-bound ledgers and faded correspondence. Among the Ashford family papers, Poirot finds a journal from 1875, written by Beatrice's father, Lord Edmund Ashford. It mentions Silas Crowe as a trusted scholar, but warns of his obsession with the silver mask's transformative power. A loose page lists a secret society, the Order of Soul, dedicated to unlocking alchemical secrets. Crowe was a member, and Beatrice was drawn to their teachings. Poirot's pulse quickens. Could the soul seeker be a modern remnant of this order? Returning to the drawing room, Poirot questions Lady Ashford about her family's history with secret societies. She hesitates, then admits her grandfather spoke of a group that guarded the crypt's secrets, disbanded after Beatrice's disappearance. They believed the mask could reveal hidden truths, she says, but it was dangerous. Poirot notes her unease, suspecting she knows more. He asks to see any remaining family relics from that era, and she directs him to a locked safe. In the study, inside the safe, Poirot finds a small silver medallion engraved with the sun symbol, identical to the crypt's key of soul. A note tucked inside reads, "The order protects the heart, but the blade tests loyalty." Poirot connects this to the crypt's cryptic phrases, theorizing the heart is a hidden relic tied to the mask and dagger. He pockets the medallion and heads to Langley's room, where the dealer, under Mr. Graves' watch, is pacing. Poirot confronts him. "Who is the soul seeker, monsieur?" Langley, sweating, claims it's a code name for a client he's never met, contacted only through encrypted letters delivered to a London Dropbox. Poirot, unconvinced, searches Langley's briefcase, finding a letter with a wax seal bearing the sun symbol. The letter instructs Langley to secure the dagger and mask for a ritual on the next new moon, promising wealth and enlightenment. The signature is a single initial, S. Poirot's mind races. Silas Crowe is long dead, so who is S? He decides to trace the Dropbox, sending another telegram to Scotland Yard for assistance. Lunch brings sandwiches and soup, but the atmosphere is heavy. Poirot observes Dr. Thorne, whose calm facade seems forced. He pulls Thorne aside in the library, questioning his knowledge of alchemical societies. Thorne admits studying Beatrice's texts, but denies ties to any order. "I sought understanding, not power," he says, his voice steady but his hands trembling slightly. Poirot recalls the glove with Thorne's initials, wondering if he's hiding a deeper role. In the afternoon, Poirot explores the manor's grounds, focusing on the woods near the chapel. He finds a hidden clearing with a stone circle, its center marked by a sun-shaped carving. Fresh footprints suggest recent activity, and a buried tin box contains a photograph of the silver mask and a list of dates, the next matching the new moon. Poirot suspects this is a meeting point for the Soul Seeker's allies. He marks the spot with a discreet chalk mark and returns to the manor as evening falls. Poirot gathers the household in the dining hall for a venison dinner. He reveals the medallion and the Order of Soul's history, watching for reactions. Eliza gasps, admitting she found similar symbols in the library's occult books. Victor scoffs, calling it family nonsense, but his eyes linger on the medallion. Lord Ashford, shaken, recalls his father's warnings about the Order's influence. Dr. Thorne remains silent, his expression unreadable. Poirot sets a new trap, announcing that the silver mask will be moved to the chapel for safekeeping. Tonight, he stations Hastings in the woods, armed with a flashlight, while he hides near the chapel's trapdoor. As midnight approaches, a figure slips into the clearing, carrying a lantern. Poirot signals Hastings, and they converge, revealing Eliza, clutching a sketchbook. "I wasn't stealing," she protests. "I wanted to protect the mask from Langley's client." She reveals a letter she intercepted, addressed to Thorne, signed S, urging him to join a ritual at the stone circle. Confronted, Thorne admits receiving letters, but claims he ignored them, fearing their intent. Poirot, skeptical, confiscates the letter, noting its identical sun seal. Back at the manor, he examines it under candlelight, finding a hidden watermark map pinpointing a London address. The Soul Seeker's lair, Poirot murmurs to Hastings. He resolves to travel to London tomorrow to confront this S, suspecting they orchestrated the shadows to manipulate the household. The household retires, tension thick as fog. Poirot sits by his window, the medallion glinting in his hand. "The Order of Soul lives," he tells Hastings, "and its heart is in London. Tomorrow we hunt the true shadow." The chapter closes with the manor silent, the storm's echo fading, but Poirot's resolve burning bright, ready to unmask the soul seeker. Chapter 7. The London Connection. The morning sun pierces the lingering mist around Ashford Manor, but Hercule Poirot's focus is already on London, where the mysterious S and the soul seeker await. The letter with the hidden watermark, pointing to a London address, has ignited Poirot's determination to unmask the mastermind behind the crypt's shadows. With the silver dagger and mask secure for now, and Langley under watch, Poirot senses the mystery's heart lies beyond the manor's walls. His little grey cells hum, ready to chase the truth through the city's bustling streets. Breakfast is a hurried croissants, marmalade and tea served in the dining hall. The household is restless, aware of Poirot's impending departure. Lord Ashford offers his car and driver, while Lady Ashford, her voice trembling, urges caution. Eliza, still shaken from her midnight discovery, avoids Dr. Thorne's gaze, and Victor sketches distractedly, his pencil scratching loudly. Thorne, calm but pale, volunteers to monitor Langley, but Poirot assigns Mr. Graves to the task, trusting the butler's loyalty. "I shall return by evening," Poirot announces, his tone firm. "Captain Hastings, we depart." The drive to London is swift, the countryside giving way to the city's clamour. Poirot, clutching the watermarked letter, reviews the clues. The Order of Soul, Silas Crow's warning, and the ritual tied to the mask and dagger. The address, a narrow street in Bloomsbury, points to a bookshop known for rare manuscripts. Arriving, Poirot and Hastings find Crow's Curios, a dimly lit shop stuffed with dusty tomes and occult artifacts. The bell jingles as they enter, and a bespectacled woman, Miss Evelyn Stone, greets them. Her sharp eyes narrow when mentions the soul seeker. "I know no such person," she says, but her fingers fidget with a sun-shaped pendant. Poirot, undeterred, shows her the letter's seal. Evelyn hesitates, then admits to receiving packages for a client known only as S, delivered to a back room. She leads them there, revealing a cluttered space with alchemical texts and a locked safe. Poirot, using his charm, persuades her to open it, uncovering a ledger listing transactions for silver artifacts, including a recent entry for an Ashford dagger, the buyer. An anonymous collector contacted via a postbox matching. Langley's Dropbox. Poirot's suspicions deepen. "This S is close," he murmurs to Hastings. They search the room, finding a hidden drawer with a photograph of the silver mask and a note. "Prepare for the new moon. The heart awaits." The handwriting matches the letter Eliza intercepted, confirming the soul seeker's reach. Evelyn, nervous, claims ignorance of the note's meaning, but mentions a regular visitor, a tall man with a scar who collects the packages. Poirot sketches the description, sensing a new player. Leaving the shop, Poirot visits his Scotland Yard contact, Inspector Japp, at a nearby cafe. Over coffee and scones, Japp shares records on Evelyn Stone, a former librarian with ties to a cult. Circles, never arrested but suspected of fencing rare books. The postbox is unregistered, a dead end, but Japp promises to watch the bookshop. Poirot, frustrated but resolute, decides to return to the manor, suspecting the scarred man may appear there. The drive back is tense, with rain pattering against the car. Poirot reviews the ledger's entries, noting payments to a Dr. T. Thorne. His mind races. Could Thorne be S, or merely another pawn? Arriving at the manor as dusk falls, Poirot finds the household gathered for tea in the drawing room. Langley, still under Graves' watch, looks defiant, while Thorne reports no incidents. Eliza, however, pulls Poirot aside, whispering about a strange man seen near the woods at twilight, a tall figure with a scar across his cheek. Dinner is a somber affair, with fish pie and peas, the air thick with unease. Poirot announces his London findings, omitting the scarred man to avoid panic. He watches Thorne closely, noting his quick glance at Langley. After dinner, Poirot sets a new trap, spreading word that the silver mask will be displayed in the library for a private viewing. He hides near the bookcase, Hastings stationed outside, as moonlight filters through the windows. At midnight, a creak signals movement. A tall figure slips into the library, his face partially visible, a scar glinting in the dim light. He reaches for the decoy mask, but freezes as Poirot steps forward. "Monsieur, you are expected," Poirot says, his voice steady. The man bolts, but Hastings tackles him at the door. Under lantern light, he's revealed as Marcus Slade, a known antiquity smuggler, his scar unmistakable. Slade, defiant, admits, working for the Soul Seeker, hired to retrieve the mask and dagger for a ritual promising eternal insight. He refuses to name S, claiming only written orders. Poirot locks Slade in a guest room, guarded by Hastings, and gathers the household. "The Soul Seeker is cunning," he says, using men like Slade and Langley to mask their presence. He reveals the ledger's Dr. T. entry, watching Thorne flinch. Thorne denies involvement, claiming he only advised Langley on valuations. Eliza, trembling, admits to seeing Slade's shadow in the crypt weeks ago, mistaking it for a ghost. Victor, silent, clenches his fists, his loyalty unclear as the night deepens. Poirot retires to his room, the sun, medallion, and letter on his desk. He confides in Hastings. The Soul Seeker is here, mon ami, hiding in plain sight. The new moon approaches, and their plan nears completion. The chapter closes with Poirot staring at the rain-slicked windows, the scarred man's words echoing. "Tomorrow, we force the Soul Seeker into the light, and the heart of the crypt will be revealed." The manor hums with secrets, one step from unraveling. Chapter 8. The heart of the crypt. The morning light filters weakly through Ashford Manor's windows, casting a pale glow over a household teetering on the edge of revelation. Hercule Poirot, his mind a whirlwind of connections, is closer than ever to unmasking the soul-seeker. With Marcus Slade, the scarred smuggler, under guard and the new moon looming tomorrow, the pressure mounts. The cryptic Silas Crow's letter, the sun medallion, and the phrase "the blade guards the heart point" to a hidden truth within the Silver Crypt. Poirot's little grey cells are poised to crack the case wide open. Breakfast is a tent spread of oatmeal, fruit, and tea, with the family barely speaking. Lord Ashford's hands shake as he pours milk, while Lady Ashford stares into her cup, lost in thought. Eliza, her face pale, avoids looking at Dr. Thorne, who maintains his usual calm but fidgets with his napkin. Victor, sullen, excuses himself early, claiming a headache. Poirot, observing every gesture, announces a final inspection of the crypt, requesting the family's presence. "Today, mes amis, we uncover the heart," he says, his voice steady but charged with intent. In the crypt, the silver panels gleam. Under torchlight, their runes almost alive in the dimness. Poirot examines the key of soul panel again, the silver key in his hand. He traces the sun symbol, noticing a faint seam around it, invisible before. With a gentle twist of the key, the panel shifts, revealing a hidden recess. Inside lies a small, ornate silver box, engraved with the words Cor Veritatis, the heart of truth. The family gasps, and Poirot carefully opens it, revealing a crystal vial filled with a shimmering liquid, labeled Elixir Solis. A note inside, in Silas Crow's hand, reads, "The heart binds the wearer to eternity, but at a cost." Poirot's mind races. This is the heart the blade guards, a relic of the Order of Saul's alchemical experiments. He questions Lord Ashford, who admits vague family tales of an elixir tied to the mask, meant to grant clarity but rumoured to drive users mad. Lady Ashford, trembling, recalls her grandfather's warning, "Never touch the heart." Eliza admits to reading about the elixir in occult texts, believing it a myth. Thorne, his voice tight, claims no knowledge but offers to analyze the liquid medically. Poirot declines, securing the vial in his pocket, back in the drawing room. Poirot confronts Thorne about the ledger's Dr. T entry. Thorne insists it's a coincidence, but his eyes flicker toward the door where Slade is held. Poirot, sensing deception, decides to question Slade again. In the guest room, Slade, defiant, reveals that S promised him the elixir's formula for delivering the mask and dagger. "It's power, not money," Slade says. S wants to revive the order. He describes meeting S, once cloaked, at the stone circle, but saw only a gloved hand with a sun-shaped ring. Poirot returns to the library, piecing together the clues. The sun ring points to someone within the manor, familiar with its secrets. He recalls Eliza's fascination with the crypt, Victor's financial desperation, and Thorne's cryptic letters. Lunch is a quick affair of soup and bread, with the household distracted. Poirot pulls Lady Ashford aside in the conservatory, asking about family jewellery. She hesitates, then admits owning a sun-shaped ring passed down from Beatrice, but claims it's locked in her jewellery box. Poirot requests to see it, and she retrieves a ring matching Slade's description, yet insists she hasn't worn it in years. Suspicion shifts to Eliza, who's been seen near the stone circle. Poirot finds her in the garden, sketching the sun symbol. She denies meeting Slade, claiming her visits were to honor Beatrice's memory. "I felt her presence," she says, her voice earnest. Poirot, unconvinced, notices her sketchbook contains a map of the crypt's panels with the key of soul circled. He files this away, planning to watch her closely. As evening falls, Poirot sets a final trap. He announces at dinner roast chicken and potatoes that the elixir vial will be stored in the manor's safe overnight. He hides in the study, Hastings, guarding the corridor as rain taps the windows. At midnight, a figure slips into the study, prying at the safe. Poirot emerges, lantern raised, revealing Lady Ashford, her sun-ring glinting. "Madame, you are the soul seeker," he declares. She collapses, sobbing, and confesses. She's been studying the Order's texts, believing the elixir could save the family's legacy. She sent the letters, used Langley and Slade, and staged the shadows to distract from her plan to perform. The ritual tomorrow, Poirot, compassionate but firm, escorts her to the drawing room where the family gathers, stunned. Lady Ashford admits she contacted Thorne for his expertise, but acted alone, driven by desperation to preserve the Ashford name. Thorne, shaken, confirms he received her letters, but refused to help, fearing the elixir's dangers. Eliza and Victor, horrified, forgive their mother, while Lord Ashford vows to protect the crypt's secrets as the night deepens. Poirot secures the vial and mask in the crypt, locking the hidden recess. He confides in Hastings. The soul seeker sought truth, but found only shadows. The elixir remains, but its cost is too great. The chapter closes with Poirot gazing at the moon, now waning, his mind at ease but alert. Tomorrow we tie the loose ends, and Beatrice's ghost may rest. The manor settles, its secrets bared, but one final truth lingers. Chapter 9. The ghost laid to rest. The morning at Ashford Manor dawns with a fragile calm, the air crisp and the sky streaked with soft clouds. Hercule Poirot, his little grey cells now satisfied with the unmasking of Lady Ashford as the soul seeker, feels the mystery nearing its close. Yet the shadow of Lady Beatrice's disappearance in 1875 lingers, entwined with the crypt's secrets and the elixir's dangerous allure. Poirot is determined to resolve this final thread, connecting Beatrice's fate to the recent events, ensuring no ghost real or metaphorical haunt the Ashford family further. Breakfast is a sombre affair, with muffins, preserves, and tea served in the dining hall. Lord Ashford, his shoulders slumped, thanks Poirot for uncovering the truth, though his eyes betray the pain of his wife's confession. Lady Ashford, composed but subdued, sits quietly, her sun-ring absent from her finger. Eliza, attempting to lighten the mood, speaks of restoring the manor's gardens, while Victor, unusually reflective, nods in agreement. Dr. Thorne, his role cleared, offers a toast to moving forward, but Poirot senses an undercurrent of unresolved questions. Poirot begins the day by revisiting Beatrice's diary, focusing on her final entry, "The shadows will guide me." He suspects her disappearance involved the elixir and the crypt's hidden recess. In the library, he examines Silas Crow's letter again, noting its warning about the mask binding the wearer to shadows. Poirot hypothesizes Beatrice attempted the ritual, perhaps with the elixir, and met an unexpected fate. He requests Lord Ashford's permission to search the crypt once more, this time for traces of Beatrice. Descending into the Silver Crypt, Poirot brings a lantern and a small toolkit. The silver panels shimmer, their runes catching the light like whispers of the past. He focuses on the key of soul panel, where the elixir was found. Using a fine chisel, he probes the surrounding stone, discovering a hairline crack. With Hastings' help, they pry open a false wall, revealing a narrow chamber. Inside, a skeleton lies slumped against the wall, draped in tattered fabrica, shawl matching the one Beatrice left behind. A silver locket, identical to hers, rests around the neck, confirming her identity. The family, summoned to the crypt, reacts with shock. Lady Ashford weeps, clutching Lord Ashford's arm, while Eliza covers her mouth, tears welling. Victor, pale, mutters, "She never left." Dr. Thorne steps forward, offering to examine the remains, but Poirot insists on preserving the scene for the authorities. Near the skeleton, Poirot finds a vial, empty but etched with the same elixir, solace label, and a faded note in Beatrice's hand. "The heart betrayed me." Poirot deduces Beatrice used the elixir, entered the hidden chamber to complete the ritual, and was trapped when the panel sealed shut. Poirot gathers the household in the drawing room to explain. "Lady Beatrice sought the elixir's truth," he says, "but the crypt's mechanism betrayed her. The shadows she saw were her own, reflected by the silver, distorted by the elixir's effects." He theorizes the elixir, perhaps toxic, clouded her mind, preventing her from escaping. Lord Ashford, devastated, vows to give Beatrice a proper burial, ending decades of mystery. To ensure no further misuse, Poirot suggests destroying the elixir. Thorne, with his medical expertise, confirms the liquid's volatility, likely a mercury-based compound dangerous to handle. In the garden, under the family's watch, Poirot pours the elixir into a sealed container, which Thorne buries deep in the woods, far from the stone circle. The silver mask and dagger are locked in the manor safe to remain untouched. There, ritualistic power nullified. Lunch is a quiet affair of cold meats and salad, the family processing Beatrice's discovery. Poirot pulls Eliza aside, praising her courage but warning against further occult pursuits. She nods, promising to focus on her studies. Victor, in a rare moment of openness, thanks Poirot for saving the family from ruin, admitting his own folly. With Langley, Poirot, gracious, encourages him to paint for truth, not profit. In the afternoon, Poirot contacts Inspector Japp, arranging for Marcus Slade and Mr. Langley to be taken into custody for their roles in the theft and smuggling. Japp, arriving by evening, commends Poirot's work, promising to investigate the Order of Saul's remnants in London. Poirot shares the ledger from Crow's Curios, hoping it leads to other conspirators. Slade, defiant, and Langley, resigned, are escorted away, leaving the manor quieter. Dinner is a hearty meal of roast pork and vegetables, the mood lifting slightly. Lord Ashford raises a glass to Poirot and Hastings, grateful for their clarity. Lady Ashford, her composure restored, apologizes for her actions, vowing to preserve the family's legacy honestly. Poirot, ever polite, accepts her apology, his eyes twinkling with understanding. As night falls, Poirot and Hastings walk the grounds, the stars bright above. Beatrice's ghost is at rest, Poirot says, but the crypt's shadows remind us truth is often hidden in plain sight. He reflects on the elixir's allure, a cautionary tale of ambition. The chapter closes with Poirot gazing at the manor, its windows glowing warmly. Tomorrow we conclude our tale, tying the final threads of this intricate web. The night is still, the mystery nearly complete. Chapter 10. The final curtain The morning sun bathes Ashford Manor in a golden glow, signalling the end of Hercule Poirot's investigation. With Lady Beatrice's fate uncovered, the elixir destroyed, and the soul-seeker's schemes unravelled, the manor feels lighter, as if a long-held breath has been released. Poirot, his little grey cells now at ease, prepares to tie up the final threads of the mystery, ensuring no shadows linger. As he and Captain Hastings, ready to depart, Poirot reflects on the delicate balance of truth and human frailty, determined to leave the Ashfords with closure. Breakfast is a warm affair, with bacon, eggs, and fresh rolls served in the dining hall. The family, though still processing the week's revelations, shows signs of renewal. Lord Ashford speaks of restoring the manor's finances through legitimate means, while Lady Ashford, her spirit lifted, discusses preserving Beatrice's memory. With a memorial garden, Eliza, bright-eyed, shares plans to study history, leaving occult pursuits behind. Victor, sketching quietly, promises to create a portrait of Beatrice for the family. Dr. Thorne, his role as an unwitting pawn clarified, offers to help catalogue the silver collection for historical preservation. Poirot gathers the household in the drawing room for a final address. Mies Amis, he begins, his Belgian accent soft but commanding. The shadows of the Silver Crypt were cast by ambition, fear, and secrets long buried. Lady Beatrice sought truth, as did Lady Ashford, but both were ensnared by the crypt's allure. He explains how Beatrice is tragic, entrapped by a faulty mechanism-fueled myths that Lady Ashford exploited, driven by desperation to save the family. The dagger's theft, orchestrated through Langley and Slade, was a distraction. But the elixir's discovery revealed the crypt's true heart. To ensure no further temptation, Poirot suggests sealing the crypt's hidden chamber permanently. Lord Ashford agrees, arranging for a stonemason to secure the false wall. The silver mask and dagger, now free of ritualistic significance, will be displayed in a local museum, their story shared without danger. Poirot hands over Silas Crow's letter and the sun medallion to Eliza, encouraging her to study their history responsibly. "Knowledge is power, mademoiselle," he says, "but wield it with care." Before departing, Poirot takes a final walk through the crypt with Hastings, the silver panels now silent, their secrets laid bare. He pauses at the Key of Soul, reflecting on the order of soul's misguided quest for enlightenment. The human heart seeks truth, he tells Hastings, but often finds only its own reflection. They emerge into the sunlight, the manors. Ivy-clad walls, a testament to resilience. Lunch is a farewell feast: roast beef, Yorkshire pudding, and claret with the family toasting Poirot and Hastings. Lord Ashford presents Poirot with a silver pen engraved with the manor's crest as a token of gratitude. Lady Ashford, her eyes misty, thanks Poirot for restoring their peace. Eliza hugs Hastings, promising to write, while Victor shakes Poirot's hand, his usual sullenness replaced by respect. Thorne, quietly appreciative, vows to support the family's healing. As Poirot and Hastings board the car for the train station, the manor recedes behind them, its chimneys standing proud against the sky. On the train, Poirot reviews his notebook, satisfied with the resolution. "Mon ami," he says to Hastings, "the crypt's shadows are gone, but they remind us every mystery hides a human story." Hastings nods, already eager for their next adventure. Back in London, Poirot receives a letter from Inspector Japp, confirming Langley and Slade's arrests. The Order of Saul's remnants are under investigation, but the Ashford case is closed. Poirot sips his tisane in his Whitehaven Mansion's apartment, the silver pen glinting on his desk. The mystery of the Silver Crypt is solved, its ghosts at rest, and Poirot's little grey cells ready for the next challenge. The story ends with the manor standing strong, its secrets buried but its spirit renewed. If you've enjoyed this tale of shadows and truth, like and subscribe for more adventures with Hercule Poirot. Comment below with your favourite moment. Did the crypt's secrets surprise you? Until next time, keep your eyes open for the shadows that hide the truth.